Hello, I'm Dr. Suneet Mittal here for Heart Rhythm TV. This is another segment of HRS at Work, an inside look at the great work being done within the various HRS committees. Today, I'm really privileged to have my dear friend, Dr. Sanjiv Narayan from Stanford University, here to talk about the Digital Health Committee. Welcome, Sanjiv.
Thank you so much, Suneet. Really a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
So Sanjiv, maybe you can start by telling membership, what is the Digital Health Committee and what is your charge for this committee?
Yeah, thanks. So we're very excited about the Digital Health Committee, which basically has the goal and mission to blend the practice of EP with essentially everything in the digital ecosystem. So that's wearables, AI, the Internet of Things, and of course, existing digital infrastructures. How do we put them together to improve the health of our patients? And with Elaine Wan, my co-chair, and the great members of the committee, we're really passionate that digital health has really great promise to achieve these goals if it's developed the right way, which essentially means shaped by clinicians and patients, and not just because there's a technology that's been developed. And we feel very strongly that there have to be use cases and that the development has to be practical.
Sanjiv, what a great thing, because I think as electrophysiologists, especially those who are in clinical practice, many of the topics you just raised are front and center for membership as we start to evolve into a different way of practicing, clinical electrophysiology, if not clinical medicine. Can you tell our members, what has been accomplished over the last few months within the confines of this committee?
Thanks. I think that we really have the potential to make a difference on the committee. I think there are so many real world challenges that we face as EPs, as all clinicians in the EP community, with this onslaught of new technologies that none of us were really trained to deal with. So we've been really trying to find the challenges that people face out in the real world. And we've been doing this largely by lots and lots of surveys across the whole span of EP. We've done some, I think, very important ones. The firsts were looking at the impact of remote monitoring of electronic devices from an allied professional perspective. That was published actually by Margaret Harvey and Amber Saylor. What are the challenges? Who deals with the alerts? How can we scale this? A really good one was perspectives on how good wearable devices are at detecting AFib, and how do we integrate all that data that's sort of ad hoc with what we currently have. That was by Eric Ding. And then what turned out to be, I think, really important was a COVID-related sort of refocusing of the digital landscape. That was a perspectives document that Janet Hahn published. And of course, it didn't just relate to the pandemic. It's become the model for futures care and how we scale remote monitoring and sort of remote non-contact patient care. So I think it's really important that this is a committee. These are objectives that everybody can participate in. We really want everyone to respond to these surveys and get their voices heard. And another, just very quickly, we've taken steps for education, and we were part of HRS, and we can talk about that for the upcoming meetings later this year.
Yeah, and Sanjiv, I want to personally thank you and your committee for really being out there in trying to address a very important issue, which is really the workflow and work staff requirements to handle this. It's often a neglected area, often creates a lot of frustration for members. I saw in your recent survey that I did make the attempt to complete was really a real focus on this issue. And I really look forward to seeing the results of that and how that'll inform some of the society's recommendations to members. So Sanjiv, in the last few minutes we have, of course, we're all getting excited for HRS 2023. This will be followed in a few months by our second annual HRX meeting. I'm sure the Digital Health Committee will be quite involved in both of these endeavors from the Heart Rhythm Society. Can you tell us a little bit about what we should expect at these upcoming meetings?
Absolutely. So around the time of this meeting, you're going to be seeing the results of that recent survey you mentioned, which builds upon everything that's been done, making it more granular. It might lead to best practice recommendations, and that could be very important for future practice. Also, just to make things more granular and tangible, we're putting together, should be coming out fairly soon, a digital perspectives document, sort of what would your clinic, our digital clinic, look like in 2030, the challenges we expect, how we might have overcome them. For training, you know, I think that this is something that people are beginning to ask, how do I learn about this stuff? And we're working hard with the Educational Council of HRS and sister organizations, and you'll see programming at the meeting on these topics.
Well, Sanjiv, I want to thank you and your committee members for doing an amazing job on this committee. And I want to personally thank you for spending a few minutes to share your thoughts on the Digital Health Committee on this segment of HRS at Work. And I look forward to seeing you at HRS and HRX this year.
Thank you.